Usually, like when you think about a transaction, you expect finality. I mean,
Oh,
think about buying a
oh
house.
yeah, absolutely. You sign the papers and you're just done.
Right. The bank
Oh.
transfers the money, the agent hands you the keys, and it's yours. Paid in full.
And, we like that. We really like knowing a debt is completely settled and no further action is required.
We really do. But when you dive into chapter 3 of the 2026 book, The Art of Prayer by Steadman, that whole comfortable transactional mindset kind of hits a brick wall.
It definitely does.
Because we're looking at this huge theological paradox today. Basically, if a believer accepts that the work of Christ is entirely finished, like that the spiritual house is totally paid for,
Right.
then why is there still any need to pray? Like, if you already have everything, asking for anything seems completely redundant.
It does seem redundant, yeah. And the author actually tackles that exact redundancy using a marriage analogy.
Oh, right, the marriage analogy.
Yeah. So when a couple stands at the altar and says, I do, they are, objectively legally married. The union is an accomplished fact.
Right, the transaction is done.
Exactly. No further action is strictly required to be married on paper.
Okay, let's unpack this because I have to push back here just a little bit. In a human marriage, I'm talking to a physical person who, talks back.
Sure.
But if God's work is already 100% finished, isn't praying just like talking to a wall to make myself feel better?
Well, no, not according to the text. Steadman makes this really crucial distinction between objective reality and subjective experience.
Okay.
Yes, the legal union is secure. It can't be undone. But if a couple stops talking and they stop spending time together,
The relationship basically dies.
right, the subjective lived experience of that marriage dies. So prayer isn't a tool to attain a union with God. It's the intimate conversation required to actually participate in it.
I love that. So it's about shifting from this transactional, give me this mentality to a more relational, I'm participating in this.
Exactly.
But how does that internal shift actually do anything in the physical world?
Well, the book explains this using the metaphor of a light bulb and a power plant.
The power plant.
Yeah, the argument is that believers are already perfectly wired to this ultimate power plant, which is God's indwelling power. You aren't praying to build a bridge to some, distant power source.
Oh, I see.
You're praying to release the energies that are already inside.
Wait. If the wiring is permanent, what happens when someone just stops praying? Do they get unplugged from the power plant?
No, and that's the beauty of the metaphor, really. Neglecting prayer doesn't mean you lose the union. You don't get unplugged.
Okay.
It's simply like leaving the light switch off. You still have full access to the power plant, but by ignoring the relationship, you hinder the flow.
So the light bulb just stays dim.
Right, the light bulb stays dim. Prayer is literally the mechanism of flipping the switch.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting. Because if that power flowing through the believer is rooted entirely in divine love,
Yes.
then it absolutely has to dictate how you pray, especially when someone wrongs you.
Oh, definitely. And the author issues a really strict warning on this.
He does.
Praying for the destruction or punishment of your enemies is described as carnality, which is, basically our base human urge for flesh and blood revenge.
Right, just dressed up as spiritual warfare.
Exactly. Dressed up as spiritual warfare.
Because if you're holding on to vengeance, you're essentially acting as a circuit breaker. You're trying to use a power plant built on love to power a machine built on hate.
It just short circuits.
It totally short circuits.
Which is why the scriptural examples in the book are so striking. I mean, Jesus actively rebuked his disciples for wanting to call down fire on the Samaritans.
Right, and he forgave his mockers on the cross.
Exactly. And Stephen prayed for the very people stoning him.
Hmm.
Paul asked for deliverance from wicked men, not for their destruction.
Wow.
They were keeping the switch flipped on by aligning with love rather than shutting the flow down with hatred.
That is so powerful. So for you listening, think about what happens when you shift your own communication from asking for things to simply enjoying the connection.
It takes the pressure off the transaction.
It really does. And it actually flips the switch to let the power flow. It changes the entire mechanics of how you relate to the world around you.
It really changes everything.
It does. So we'll leave you with this to mull over today. If the act of praying for an enemy is entirely about aligning with love rather than trying to change God's mind or punish someone, well, how might the words you whisper in private actually be the very things rewiring your own subconscious biases?
That's a great question.
Right. Maybe the transaction was never about getting the keys to the house, but learning how to actually live in it.